Broncos win 28-14 over the Panthers, improve to 5-3 on the year, win 2 in a row. We're going to break down this win for the Broncos. Welcome on into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. The initial reaction I had while watching this game and during our watch party is by far the best game for Bo Nix, right? 284 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Nix was not asked to do much in the second half because of how dominant they were in the first half. But all around, this is a great team win. I know maybe to the box score viewer, it looks like it's a 14-point win. I mean, if Courtland Sutton doesn't fumble at the 1-yard line at the end of the game, the Broncos might even get another touchdown. It could be 35-7, but whatever. All around, though, Denver dominated this game on offense and on defense. And listen, you were playing a 1-win Carolina squad. That's somewhat expected, but you play who you play. You play who's in front of you. There are 53 pros on both sides of the field. So for the Broncos to come out and just dominate Carolina the way they did, I mean, after the opening touchdown for the Panthers, the Broncos dictated everything about this game. They dictated what they wanted to do on offense. If they wanted to pass to a tight end, they passed to a tight end. I mean, think about how bad this must be for Carolina. The Broncos made the tight ends look like Aaron Hernandez and Gronkowski when they were at their peak. And this is a Broncos tight end room that was the worst in the NFL coming into today. But Adam Trautman and Nate Atkins both had some big plays. But Bo Nix, by far, his best game of his young career. 28 for 37, 284 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had over 200 yards by the end of the first half. And then Denver pretty much just put it in cruise control and ran the ball a bunch. He also added on a rushing touchdown. So Nix, a part of all 4 scoring plays for the Broncos. But yeah, this was an offensive explosion. Sutton finally got involved. Passing. Yeah, he had a nice pass to Michael Burden. I forgot we had his passing stats. But after Sutton did not get a single target last week in New Orleans, this week, 8 grabs, 100 yards, and unfortunately 1 fumble, which if there's a time to fumble, I guess it's when you're up 28-7. You still don't want to see it. But anywho, it's still a dominant victory for the Broncos offense. And probably the best part about it is every single room was contributing. I mean, the offensive line did a great job. Bo Nix did a great job. The running backs had some nice runs. The receivers were making plays, although 2 fumbles by the receiver, so that's definitely going to be something Sean Payton focuses on. But even your tight ends, like when you have a tight end going off in this offense, take notice because they have not been a part of the offense through the first 7 weeks of the season. So all around, an ass-kicking for the Broncos in a good way, and that's what you needed to see. I mean, it's not like this team was desperate for a win in terms of the way they played recently, but when you're at home against a 1-win Panthers team, you want to give your home crowd a show, right? You don't want to flirt with danger, fly too close to the sun. No, this was a complete stomping by the Broncos. It was a stampede, no pun intended. So 28-14, the Broncos offense took care of business on their end, and ultimately, defensively, I just feel a little bad for Bryce Young. I know that it's the NFL, they're all big boys, and you play to the whistle, yada, 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 all that macho man stuff, but did anyone else kind of find a point in the game where they're like, man, I wouldn't mind a nice little Panthers completion here because Bryce looks like he's about to cry. And I have nothing against Bryce Young. It was that just demoralizing, we'll say, for the Panthers. I don't know how they do this. That is torture. I was thinking about this. Would you rather go to jail tomorrow until the end of the football season or go to jail tomorrow and you can leave once the Panthers win again? I might take leave after football season. They don't look like they're going to win another game this year. You could be in jail for a long time. That's a tough question right there. But Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin, they didn't have insane days, but they were doing their job. I mean, they were getting them into 2nd and short, 3rd and short. They were converting on 3rd down all across the board. I don't think there's one thing to be upset about from the Broncos offense aside from the fumbles, which, listen, that's not good. But when it's 28-14, yeah, those fumbles get forgotten real quick. Now, I do want to talk about Denver's defense and who jumped out to me specifically. But first, a quick shout-out to our sponsor today, which is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 10 million active members. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Now you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You could turn $10 into $1,000. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, run your game. So let's talk about Denver's defense. I saw Pat Surtain suffer a bit of an ankle injury towards the end of the game, and I'm looking to see if there's an update on that as Sean Payton is doing his press conference and there's fire alarms going off in it. But, yeah, this was just a complete domination by Vance Joseph yet again. I mean, 2 interceptions, one from PS2, one from Jaquan McMillan, his first pick of the year, and that was an awesome interception. And remember last year when Denver won those 5 games in a row, so much of that was fueled, or not so much of it, all of it was fueled by the defensive takeaways. And that's when Jaquan really started to wake up in the season, or kind of, I wouldn't say wake up, but really emerge. And here we are halfway through the year, and he's doing the same thing again. But yeah, there was just nothing going for Carolina. I mean, they only had 16 first downs, which I would say half of those came in the last 5 minutes of the game. There was a point where the broadcast showed that Carolina had 5 first downs to Denver's 21 first downs, was it? I mean, I don't know how many times I can say this. I have never seen the Broncos, never is a strong word, but it felt good to see domination like this at home because I feel like a lot of their big wins lately have come on the road in terms of just squashing their opponent, like the Saints, like the Bucks. And you go back to last year, I mean, they didn't squash the Bills, but that was a good road victory right there. But they really squashed Carolina at home. And this home crowd needed to see that. Chuba Hubbard, 15 carries, 56 yards. If you guys watched my keys to victory for the Broncos this week, the first key to victory was domination in the trenches. And the Broncos eliminated any potential run game for Carolina. Hubbard never got more than 8 or 9 yards, it looked like, on a carry on a good day. Bo Nix also cleaned up his footwork beautifully. I mean, that was the number one talking point going into this Sunday was, hey, Bo Nix's footwork continues to be an issue. I mean, just watching for the first time, didn't look like any bad plays jumped out to me. So it was awesome to see Nix's footwork really get cleaned up in our second key to victory. And then our third key to victory we had for this game was receivers making plays. How about a one-handed grab from your tight end? How about another tight end touchdown from Nate Atkins? So the fumbles surely didn't help, but you got some really good catches from your receivers and whatnot. So pretty much 3 boxes checked right there. But overall, Nick Bonito gets a sack to keep his streak going. 6 sacks in a row for him now. He leads the team in sacks. As we inch closer to the NFL trade deadline, I know we're all in fun to win. Just going to throw this out there. Bonito and Cooper are clearly the number 2 pass rushers on this team as of late. Could that make Baron Browning available? Just something to kind of think about a little bit with the November 5th NFL trade deadline approaching. Bryce Young, 22 for 37, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, he had a 90-yard touchdown drive, essentially, 95-yard touchdown drive at the end of the game. His stat line really looked like 19 for 30, 180 yards, and 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Outside of a garbage time touchdown to Jalen Coker, there was nothing going for Carolina pretty much. They had one nice first down grab when a Malcolm Roach roughing the passer tacked on 15 more yards to it. That was a BS roughing the passer too, by the way, but whatever. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday night because this is going to be just a fun win to kind of stew over for the rest of the week. And then next week, Denver gets ready for the Baltimore Ravens, who lost today to Jameis Winston and the Browns. So maybe they're catching the Ravens at a good time, and 5-3 can snowball into 6-3. And right now, I mean, just think about this. The Denver Broncos have 5 wins before Halloween. How many people thought they wouldn't even get to 5 wins this entire year? So who do you think is the biggest winner for the Broncos versus the Panthers? I would go with Bo Nix. All I want to see from Nix this year is just improvement every single week. He doesn't need to get he doesn't need to be better in terms of everything gets better, but whenever there's a weakness, let's see that weakness improve. And that weakness earlier was Bo Nix's footwork, and I would say that was much better today. So for me, this season is all about making sure that you've got the franchise QB in Bo Nix, and any wins that come along the way are awesome. But priority number one for me is Bo Nix's development, and I feel like Nix has developed nicely as the season has gone along. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Appreciate everyone for hanging out with us. If you tuned into our watch party, let me know by dropping a DEN in the comments section. That way I know where the OGs are at.